You oblige Tammy, reaching into your pocket to power down your phone. Tammy can tell you don't believe her, but seems relieved that you're at least willing to go along with it. Well, 90! Anyway, I quit my job because I just couldn't take it anymore. But knowing what my work would be applied to, I've always loved robots. It just seems like it's hard to find a job in robotics that doesn't involve working for a military contractor. That's why I was so excited to read the article, because sure, someone as amazing as you was going to start a world-changing company like Google or Apple or all of those other companies that started in a Silicon Valley garage. So I was wondering, do you think you could offer me a job in your robot company? My friend Josh runs a robot company, US Robots. Perhaps you'd be interested in joining that. That's what I'll do. I'll start a robot company. You could be my first employee. Sorry, I don't have a company, and I don't plan to start one. Submit your resume to this email address and we'll see what happens. Lie. I think that might end up being a conflict of interest because I'd like to go out with you tonight. Let's stay loyal to Josh. Does this improve our... No, it doesn't. Okay. What sort of robots do they sell? Tammy asks. Robot stuffed animals, you say? Well, at least it's not drones. Tammy says to herself. She nods. Alright, I'll apply. Can you put in a good word for me? Absolutely, you say. Tammy looks very excited at this prospect. Oh, thank you very much. Did you want to ask Tammy out on a date tonight? Sure, why the hell not? Tammy looks momentarily stunned at your proposition. Really? Really? A broad grin breaks out on her face. Yes, of course. After some negotiation, you make plans to go see a remastered version of Blade Runner with Tammy at an indie theater. Tammy turns out to be a big Philip K. Dick fan. You cancel your plan to go to the monster... Oh no! Oh, I forgot! Yeah, I pissed off Josh. Oh, god damn it, no. He sounds disappointed, and when he adds, but I guess I should be working that night, you feel a bit bad for him. You and Ariel say your goodbye to Tammy. You can hardly wait for tonight. Oh man, I forgot about that. That afternoon, you glance outside your window and see Tammy skulking behind a hedge across the street as if she is casing your place. But she catches sight of you, pretends to pick up something from the ground, then puts her hand in her pocket and whistles as she casually walks to her BMW, starts up the engine and drives away. What? That night, you go to the Blade Runner showing with Tammy. You can tell she is enjoying the Norse science fiction classic. She lip-syncs the words of the Voight-Kampff test that separates robots from people. Man, I saw Blade Runner, but I have no idea what this is all about. It's been so long. But a great movie. Halfway through the movie, Tammy grabs a hold of your hand. Let her hold my hand. Man, she's really going forward. You decide to holding hands is alright. After the movie, you drive Tammy back to her place. It is a tiny one-story in dire need of a new paint job. Someone's loud rap music drifts to you from a far-off open car window, then recedes. Hey, Tammy says, still in the car next to you. This might seem kind of crazy and sudden, but do you want to come inside for a drink? Her hand is shaking nervously. Man, this is really weird. Well, we got 96% with her already. She's... you know, as a guy, I'm usually the one putting up the show, so this is really, like, weird. Absolutely no, but I do want to see you again. No thanks, I don't think I can give you what you need. Absolutely. You follow Tammy inside her place. It's kind of a mess, with the laundry pile spilling out from a closet into the kitchen and unwashed dishes in the sink. Oh my god. She continues to tremble as she tries to pour you some scotch and tell you trivia about Philip K. Dick at the same time. She drops the tumbler, shattering it on the Formica floor. Sorry, she fusses, grabbing some paper towels. I'm such a klutz. You know, actually, it's late. I think I've got to go. Or, here, let me help you with that. Or, it's okay. Kiss her. Well, while we're here, we might as well kiss her. At least once being the one who's dominant. Tammy kisses you back with a ferocious intensity. Are you going to go any further? Yes, I try to seduce Tammy. I will let Tammy decide how far things go. Or no, I excuse myself before things get too intense. We got 96, so I don't think it can go much further. So I'll let her decide. She eagerly goes to bed with you. She seems extremely excited about the whole affair, and is loud enough that you worry the neighbors may come down on you. You enjoy yourself, but it would be tough to be as into it as Tammy. Wow, she says afterwards. I can't believe I just did it with Rudolph Calvin. For some reason this feels a little weird to you, but you can't quite put it into words. You now have a devoted significant other. What's the problem? You spend the next few weeks fending off reporters as you write your thesis for graduate school, unsupervised learning in the aerial architecture. When you finally defend your thesis, Ellie, Josh, Mark, Tammy, Mom, Dad, and Ariel are all there at your final presentation. They especially appear to appreciate your last slide, which is pictures of all of them. At the school's reception for fresh doctorates, Tammy jokes, "So do I now have to call you Dr. Calvin?" You demur, but it is what the stats screen calls you now. Achievement unlocked, Doctor. Rudolph, I can tell you how proud I am of you, Dad says, shaking your hand. Thanks, Dad, you say. It's a moment you would relive over and over. Was there more you could have said? How were you to know it was the last time you would see him? Oh. A week later, after your family has gone home, but you have not yet gotten to the business of moving out of your apartment, you get a call from Mom. Oddly, she chooses not to use video at all. Rudolph, I have some bad news for you, she says, and there's a heaviness in her voice that you've never heard before that fills you with dread. You are completely unprepared for what comes next. Your father passed away last night. Your father's funeral is a simple graveside affair with just a few attendees. The casket is sitting on a metal gurney next to the hole into which it will eventually be lowered. After everyone has gone, there are no trappings of any faith, since your father was not religious himself. Nor did he have many close friends, but the ones you know came. You find yourself sitting in the front row next to Ariel, who was not explicitly invited, but was not explicitly prohibited either. Ariel seems overwhelmed by the sadness in the air. You have never seen her so glum. Your mother, wearing a black dress and veil, goes up to stand next to the casket. It's not often that my English degree comes in handy, as Bill would have been quick to point out, she says with a wry smile. But on a few occasions, I find none of my own words seem sufficient, so I'd like to begin with a favorite passage of ours. She begins. Full fathom 5 thy father lies, or to everything there is a season, or do not despise death, but be well content with it. I apologize, I don't know any of these quotes. I might in my own language, but I'm not sure who these are. But I guess the last one seems promising. Do not despise death, but be well content with it, since this, too, is one of those things which nature wills. For such as it is to be young and to grow old, and to increase and to reach maturity, and to have teeth and beard and grey hairs, and to beget, and to be pregnant, and to bring forth, and all the other natural operations which the seasons of thy life bring, such also is the solution. This, then, is consistent with the character of a reflecting man, to be neither careless, nor impatient, nor contemptuous with respect to death, but to wait for it as one of the operations of nature. Mom clears her throat. That was Marcus Aurelius, one of Bill's favorite philosophers. When he found he was gradually fainting more and more, I think he knew the end was coming, but he was fearless about it. He actually alluded to that passage when I asked him about it. Mom smiled sadly. More than anyone I know, Bill was wise and accepted whatever came his way. Let us all remember, then, to be as brave as Bill in accepting his death. You glance at Ariel, who seems very interested in this message of fearlessness in the face of death. +2 military. Man, I wouldn't have guessed that was empathy, but okay. You see through a few more of your father's friends giving recollections of him. He was brilliant, they say, but you also get the feeling he was not always there for his friends, that he was lost in his own world, that they never say he was kind, or that he was full of love. Indeed, he always seemed distant to you as well. After the service, you walk up to your father's casket and place your hand on it. What have you resolved to do in light of his death? I must work on technology that is better able to remove tumors like the one Dad had. I must not be remembered only for my intellect, but for my kindness as well. I must find out more about why Dad died and whether I'm genetically at risk. For Marcus Aurelius is right, death is not to be feared, so I must not be afraid to kill. Holy, scratch the last one. Probably the second one. I like that one. You realize that you take after your father, often too absorbed in your own projects to look out for the people around you. Resolve that from this point forward, that you will strive to be more mindful of how you can serve others. You decide not to let Dad's passing deter you. Monday is your first official day of full-time employment at US Robots, and Josh greets you at the glass door of the new office in Cupertino. A photographer working in the hedges immortalizes your handshake, plus fame. The press compares your partnership with Josh to that of Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, or Larry Page and Sergey Brin. But those would be the two understatements. Those would be understatements. The home computer and internet search would prove to be nothing compared to the impact of intelligent robots. Chapter 4, Captains of Industry. So I'm gonna end here for today. Let's end with checking our stats and see how we're doing. So the year is 2020. I'm 25-year-old Dr. Rudolph Calvin. My humanity is 94, so we increased it by 4%. Gender is male. Fame is 7. Nationally famous. Wealth is 1. Getting by. I have a romance with Tammy. My robot is Ariel. Autonomy 17, good. Military 5 in beta. Empathy 17, good. And grace 5 in beta. I would like to increase empathy, autonomy, and grace. Military, not so much. Relationships. Professor Ziegler, 67%. Ali, 64. Josh, 65. Mark, 72. Juliet, 59. And Tammy, 96. I'd like to increase the relationship with Josh, especially. Because, you know, I'm really sad that I hurt it that much by cancelling, but I hope he understands that I wanted to go out with Tammy. And the summary of completed chapters. Chapter 1. On the day you first built Ariel, you awoke from a dream about a robot Anubis to head to the lab. Your graduate school advisor presumed you to make Ariel more acceptable to the military. After some back and forth, you ended up making a plastic bipedal robot with a masked head and humanoid hands. You then met up with Josh, your startup CEO friend, to discuss business. You agreed to help his company make robot stuffed animals. The next day you hooked up with Ariel biodiesel engine and tried activating her. You then spent the afternoon perfecting Ariel's motor control and parts. As months passed, you became busy teaching Ariel about the world through the internet and taking her to the dump. Your funding from US Robots kept you in Professor Ziegler's good graces during this time. In time, Mark Alley, a reporter for the San Francisco Chronicle, heard about Ariel and asked you for an interview. You agreed. Oh, okay, we would have to probably skip to chapter 4, but I'm gonna leave that next. We would have to skip there to get part 3. That's what I'm trying to say. But we'll do that next, and we're gonna play Choice of Robots, where we are gonna become captains of the industry.